What is up, guys? Justin here with a pickups video, and this one is pretty quality. I got all this stuff off of, I guess, a local reseller, someone that I had never dealt with before. I don't think he's actually from my area. I think he was just up here for one reason or another. But while I was out of town last weekend, I started seeing this guy post listing after listing on our local Facebook groups of all this retro game stuff that he had for sale, and for pretty solid prices. Not like steals, but for very good prices. And so I started messaging him about all this stuff, and I was getting super frustrated because he was refusing to hold any of it for me until later that night when I got back into town, even though I told him, like, look, I'm interested in all of this, I'll take it all off your hands, you know. And so he wasn't going to hold anything for me. So I said, you know, whatever, screw it. If I miss stuff, there's not really much I can do about it. But I said, I commented on his Saturn posting and said, look, I'll take the Sega Saturn if you hold it till tomorrow morning. And he said, yeah, sure, whatever. So I went over there the next morning and to pick up my Sega Saturn system here, which no, I didn't have a game in it. But there's a Saturn system I got. And it came with, actually he originally only posted it with one controller, but he included 4 controllers for me. There was 1, 2, 3 first-party ones here, and then this SuperPad Saturn controller. And then he had actually 2 AV cords for it, I think, and the power cord. And then so he had that listed for $30, and that's one of the reasons I was like, yeah, you know, I'll take the Saturn. That's a good deal for a Saturn, especially when he threw in those extra controllers. But he told me he also had this Dark Savior Saturn game that I do not have yet, which was complete and in nice shape, and actually had the disc for Daytona USA in there, in addition to the Dark Savior disc. And so he told me I could have this for an extra $25, which I thought was fair. I think in this condition it's probably a $40, $50 game. I didn't have it yet, so I said, sure, you know, I'll go ahead and do that. But as he was handing me the bag, I said, hey, you know, look, do you have any of that other stuff still? You know, I'll gladly take a look at it if you do. And he's like, oh, yeah, sure. He brought me into his garage, and I was surprised to see that he still had, like, everything that he had posted, even though he told me that he had sold some of it already. I don't know, but I wasn't complaining because I essentially had dibs on it at that point. So I ended up spending a good chunk of change. I'll let you guys know as we go what I paid for stuff. We kind of worked it out as individual deals, and I'll give you a grand total at the end. But I definitely wanted to show this first. Complete in box N64 system. And this box is like pretty mint condition. I'll take it out and do a close-up of everything for you guys so you can get a better look at it. But yeah, it included what looked to be everything in there, all in nice shape. The AV cord had like some dog bites in it or something, like the dog had chewed on it, but I can easily replace that. And the other thing I noticed was that it was a black controller inside of the box, when originally I think it came with, at least judging by the front of the box, it came with a gray controller, but that's easy enough to switch out. I picked up plenty of those in the last weekend, so I'll just switch that out. But believe it or not, this is like, I shouldn't say the first box N64 system I've had, because I have that box Star Wars set, but I've never owned like an OG Nintendo 64 complete in box, except for the original one that my parents bought me like Christmas of '97. I'm sure that box was gone before December 26th. But anyway, I was super excited to get that. It included Star Fox 64, which I think was like the only N64 game he had, and he threw in an extra Atomic Purple controller for me. I paid $80 for that, which I think is a pretty fair deal, just seeing the condition of the box, and seeing as I was buying it for my personal collection, I was willing to pay a little bit of a premium on it. But super excited to finally have a boxed N64. I actually might put that up here to display behind the videos for the time being. But sticking with the N64, I also picked up from him a Fire Orange N64 system with the expansion pack in there, which kind of blends into the orange system. So this came with the matching controller with a very good condition joystick, had a memory card in there as well, third-party one, and it had the power adapter with it. He didn't have any more AV cables for like Nintendo systems. So this I also paid $80 for. which again is not a steal of a deal, but the reason I paid that is because I believe the one that I have already has a little bit of a crack in the plastic underneath somewhere inside the console. So you can, I mean, I'm probably the only one that ever noticed it, but I've been looking to upgrade it, and the controller I have for mine, the joystick is like dead on it. The only reason I held on to it is because it matched the system. So this is definitely a condition upgrade for me, and seeing as it had the expansion pack in there and everything, I think that I'll be able to switch it out with mine, and once I do something with mine, I'll break even on the deal and end up with a free condition upgrade for my Fire Orange N64. So yeah, $80 for that. Next up, I'll show this. It is a Game Boy player for the GameCube, and actually, this is the case for the Game Boy player disc. There was also a couple other random discs in here as well, which I don't know if you noticed they were in there or not, but Beautiful Joe 2 and Battalion Wars, and then I guess there was also a disc 1 for Resident Evil 4, and then finally the Game Boy player disc. So he knew the discs were worth quite a bit, and he sold this to me for $40, I believe. Yeah, $40, and I was really iffy on that price. I was like, look, I've already got one, I don't really need it. And he's like, oh wait, there's a game in there, I was like, well, I'm not going to pay $20 more than I normally would for a SpongeBob. But then he was like, all right, you know what, if you take the Game Boy player, I'll throw in a PS2 Slim system for you. And I was like, okay. And so he threw in this black PS2 Slim system here, and it didn't come with like the cords, but he's like, I got 2 controllers I'll throw in for you. I've got plenty of cords for him, so that wasn't a deal breaker. So anyway, $40 for this wouldn't have been a great deal by any means, but once you throw in a PS2 system, which is probably worth another $40, $50, yeah, I'll go ahead and take that. So moving on next, he had a Wavebird controller, which I really don't know why I bought this. I've already got 4 of them. It's the Platinum one. It's got some wear on the back and stuff. It does have the battery cover though. And he was asking $25 for it. And I said, look, I don't really need it that bad. I've already got some. And he said he would throw this in for if I did 30, which is a copy of Pokemon Gold. I think it needs a new save battery, but I was like, okay, sure, whatever. We were kind of rolling at that point. I figured if I paid, $30 for that, I could probably get a better deal on some of the other stuff that I'll show in a minute here. So $30 for that stack there. Next up, I will show a Sega Dreamcast system here. Dreamcast system, I don't think it had a game in it. No. Actually, I think it originally did, and he found the case for it. It was Sonic Adventure was in the system. So he found the case for that and threw that in. Had both the cords here, no controllers, but I think I still have extra controllers. Maybe I got rid of them with my last Dreamcast. I'll have to look into that. But he sold that to me for $25, which I thought was odd because I saw that posted on Facebook the day before. He was asking, I think, $75 for it. Had a couple controllers and like a keyboard, so I don't know why he just didn't include that stuff with it and charge me $30 or $40. I don't know. I'm not complaining though, because $25 is a good deal for a Dreamcast with Sonic Adventure. And then coming down to the end here, here's not the last thing I'm going to show, but this is the thing I probably not regretting buying, but I think I might have overpaid for this a little bit. It's a Sega CD Model 2 with the Model 2 Genesis on it. So kind of weird that I found 2 Sega CD systems within like a month of each other. Got that Dutchman's Treasure lot not too long ago. So this one had a copy of Sonic CD in it. I guess I'll take it out so you guys can actually see what it was. Sonic CD, and it came with I believe all the cords that it needs. Yeah, both the power cords here, and there's an AV, or the RF cord, and a controller. So I paid $60 for that, and I want to feel like he threw something in for the $60, and I'm trying to remember what it was. It may have been this NES power brick that I told him I needed, so not a huge bonus throw-in. But for $60, I think it was alright with the copy of Sonic CD. I kind of wanted that Model 2 Genesis to go with that Model 2 Sega CD I found a couple weeks ago that had the Model 1 Genesis on it, so I was like, okay, whatever, you know, I'll go ahead and pay the 60 for it. And then finally, I think the total for everything at that point was like $370, and he kind of rounded it to an even $400, and I wasn't opposed to it if he gave me a good deal on something. So he sold me this Super Nintendo system here for $30. Didn't have the cords, so not a great deal. The bottom half of it is yellowed, but he let me go in his box of controllers, and I picked out the nicest Super Nintendo controller he had, which is actually in really nice shape, so I'm assuming that works. And that kind of rounded it off to an even 30. He threw in this copy of Madden NFL 94 for me. So $400 for all of that. There was a few other random bits that he threw in: N64 memory card, jumper pack for an N64, some crap DS games that aren't even worth showing, taken out of these containers. But yeah, $400. Not a phenomenal deal, but seeing as I'm buying some of it for my collection, I was willing to pay a little bit more for it, and I think overall I'm going to do alright on that. Super pumped to get that N64 box set. And speaking of boxes, he's got some more stuff. He took me out to his shed, and he had a whole drawer full of mint condition boxed Game Boy games. He had like a sealed N64 game, I think it was Mickey's Speedway. He had maybe some boxed Super Nintendo stuff in there as well that I don't know what, he said he wasn't going anywhere anytime soon. He was going to have to look up prices and stuff, and I've got his, he let me borrow his plastic container here to put all this stuff in. So I was like, yeah, you know, I'll bring it back. Bring it back in a week or so, and that'll give me an excuse to go back and maybe buy or at least look at some of that other stuff he's got. Hopefully he's not asking too outrageous of prices on it, but if it's anything like what I got from him here, the prices will be pretty okay. So maybe you'll see another pickup video coming soon from stuff I get from this other local reseller. But anyway, thank you guys for sticking around and seeing what I got this time around, and until next time, take care.